Hello and welcome back everyone to the next episode on SAP ABAP on HANA come S4 HANA technical training with me Anubhav. In our last episode we talked about the concept of working with information models. We discussed about the views in HANA which includes attribute, analytic and also the calculation views. We have seen what it means for a developer to build views when it comes to SAP HANA database in order to achieve code to data paradigm. I have showed you how to build a attribute view and also build a analytic view in the system. We have also talked about how can we utilize the concept of analytic view to build data aggregation for our analytical use case. We have done the aggregation and did a inbuilt analytics chart in the analytic view. Then I've written the query to pass a parameter. And we've also saw how to do currency conversion in a analytic view. In our today's session, we will start with calculation view of type graphical. I will be teaching you how to build graphical view and for which we will take our use case inspired from Mr. James. Remember Mr. James and the open item scenario from last class? We will be developing this in the view format. And then I will show you what it means for us as a ABAP on HANA consultant, professional pro like you who can build the same scenario with data modeling in HANA, and then what is the performance gain you will get. Subsequently, I will teach you how to consume the view output in ABAP, which was a question from the last class. So we had following questions which we will try to answer today. We will discuss about some of the pending joins, building calculation views with OIA scenario, how to transport your views from HANA Q to P system, and then consuming our views in ABAP layer. So I was also discussing the 8 type of joins in HANA. By far I showed you inner join, which is going to give you the data where you have exact matching records in both the tables. The left outer join where it will fetch all the matching records in both tables. In addition to that, the data which is in the left side table doesn't have the corresponding data in the right side table will be fetched. In the right outer join where you will get all the data from the right side table, including also the additional data for which there is no corresponding record in the left table. Text join always performed along with the text tables where we explicitly specify a language column. And when we choose the language column, we have to specify that so that at runtime when your view runs, the login language will automatically be passed by the system to the view to fetch the text specific data. Now we are going to discuss the remaining 4 type of views quickly and then move to building calculation views. Please note that I am not an expert in all the type of views in all the type of joins in HANA actually. I will just show you the join types, but depending on complexity of the use case, you will be applying and exploring more about these joins. So let's talk about star join. A star join is used in analytical views to join master and transaction data. This is to build star schema. And I already explained what is a star schema. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. How I wonder what you are. This was the topic which I have already covered in the last class. So when you connect master data with transaction data in analytical views, like we did in the last episode, we will go ahead and use the concept of the start join. So if I go back to my package and open the analytic view, you will easily be able to find the star join. You can see here the star join to join our master and transaction data. Now, then moving on to the next type of join type, which is called as spatial join. A spatial join is a use case when we join the coordinate data between the views, like geospatial spatial data. Yes, coordinate data or so-called geospatial data, which joins the coordinates data or also known as ST points in HANA. For example, if we want to calculate distance between two geo points, like what's the distance between India to China? Yes, you can do that with spatial join, or let's say calculate area of Bermuda Triangle. So then you can join the spatial join between tables to do a self join, which is on a geostationary coordinates. I have personally never ever used spatial and temporal join in my career, but I just know the basics. So in the future, in case you come across a situation, you got to explore a bit on the documentation. Coming to temporal join. Temporal joint are joints with respect to time tables. So we have basically tables which are time tables, tables which contains time specific data. These tables starts with M star. Yeah. These are called M star tables in HANA, and these are the timetable like quarter, month, year, date. Yes. In these tables, the standard dates, time, data is stored, and you can join with. So whenever you join M star tables with your existing table, you are basically doing a temporal join. Currently, this option is never available until unless your dimension is a time dimension. For example, if you come back and add here a time data table, M underscore month. Yes. Uh, then what will happen? You are joining basically the month and days data. It's called empty star. One second. It's not loading the whole list at all. Okay, empty. So these timetables are present in sysbi schema. Let me go to sysbi schema and I will go to tables, and you will see these tables related to time. You see M time dimension, month, week, year. Yeah. So if I want to join, let's say with this table, I bring it on over here, for example. So whenever you do apply a join of time data, then what happens? This will be using the temporal join. I'm not sure. Yeah, we do have this data with the, let's say I'll join with the this data. So this is basically done using a temporal join. Yeah, temporal join. Whenever we join the data with the time. So right now I not need, but in future, in case you need, you can do that. So this is where we go with the M star table. You see M time dimension, week, year. Yeah, all these are standard tables present in sys BI schema with which you can join and you can achieve a temporal join. Next and last is referential join. Now, what is a referential join? A referential join is a smart inner join. Is a smart inner join. Referential join is a smart inner join. Yes, it's a smart inner join. Now, how it is a smart inner join? So when we build a view using two tables and use the referential join, the selection of data depends on select query on our view. If we choose columns from both tables, The join will work like inner join. Else, if we choose columns only from one table, the join will be pruned. The join will be pruned. Let me explain this with a use case. Once upon a time, I was working with a client and they are dealing in the freight and cargo services. So they had one database table where they were storing all the docket numbers of the ongoing travel, ongoing couriers, freights to the customers. So here they had the docket number and they have the flight date. What is the dispatch date of the order? Let's say docket number is 1, dispatch date is 17, or let's say 1/1/2025. Docket number 2, 1/2/2005, 25. Docket number 3, 1/3/2025. Docket number 4, 1/4/2025. This was one database table we had in our company for our requirement. Then we had another database table in same company, same project, which was the date on which there was a flight carrier which is operating. So on 1/1/2025, there was a flight from DHL, the famous courier company. 1/2/2025, there was a flight from FedEx. Then 1/3 or 1/5/2025, there was a flight from First Flight. And then we had 1/4/2025, we had a flight from Mastek. So these were the dates on which the flights were scheduled from this courier. Now, what my company wanted, they wanted a view. So I built a view, and this view, when I build the join which I applied, let me show you the join. This is the orange line, that's my join. And ultimately, I got a view created using the join. So let's call it as a view, analytic view, or let's say attribute view underscore Anu, my name. So this is my view I have created. Now this orange line, what do you see? If this orange line is inner join, what will be my result? And if this orange line is referential join, what will be my result? Let's try and understand that. So inner join, referential join. So if this is basically a inner join, what will be my situation? If this is an inner join, if this is the inner join, then if you select query number 1, select docket number, comma, flight carrier, yes, from my attribute view 80 Anu. This is first query. Second query is select only the docket number from my view. So both queries are on the view only, which we built. Yeah. And if the same set of queries are fired, if it is inner join, if it is referential join, what's the difference? So let's come back. First of all, let's look at inner join. What is the inner join, guys? Simple rule I'm telling you. What is the inner join? A inner join is bound to happen. No matter what you do or not do, this join will be applied in every single condition. Now, in this case, what will be the result of the first query? Now the system applies the join. The join is getting applied. It will compare. This matches with this. Very good. So my first record will be 1 DHL. Then this matches with this. My second record will be 2 FedEx. Order number 2 FedEx. Then I have 1/3/2025, but there is no record on the right side for 1/3. It will be This 3 will be not considered because it's a join. It's a join. It is bound to happen. System will not fetch the data. Then 1 4, yes, there is a record. It's called mask. So we have 4 mask. This will be the output of the first query if it's inner join. This yellow line is an inner join built to build the view. Then if it is just the docket number, we are fetching docket number. Result will be same. Only docket number will be fetched 1, 2, and 4. Yes, this will be my result of the view. When you query the view, this will be my result on the view. Yes. Now, if it is inner join, if it is referential join, what will happen? This time, special thing will happen. Depending on selection, the join will prune. The join will prune. The join will prune. Depending on selection, the join will prune. So in case of first use case here, you see this one, what will happen? In this case, you are selecting data from both tables. Flight carrier is from second table, docket number from first table. In that case, the join will work like an inner join. You see, if you build the view using the two tables, depend on your select. If you choose column from both table, the join will work like an inner join. So whatever is the output of inner join, same will come. Yeah, same. But in this case, second query, I am just selecting the docket number, only the docket number. In this case, if you choose the column from one table, the join will be pruned. What is prune means? English meaning ignore. It's a fancy name given in the SAP book. I read this definition from book of SAP HANA book. So there they use this word called pruned. That's why I used it as it is. So prune means ignore. So it'll ignore the join, it'll just go and select all the data from the first table and print them. 1, 2, 3, 4 will be the result. Yeah. That will be the result of the output 1, 2, 3, 4. So you see 1, 2, 4 and here 1, 2, 3, 4. So in this case, the join was completely ignored. Your system will prune the join. So be careful with referential join. Depending on your selection, system will respect or disrespect the join. Now you say which one is better? Referential join is better because now you know the rules and this view can be used for multi-purpose. Multi-purpose means when you want to join the data, you select column of both tables. It will apply the join. When you don't want to join the data, you want to fetch all the data of one of the table. You don't put the column of another table. System will prune the join, it will fetch you all the data from the single table. So it is a multi-purpose join. It is a multi-purpose. Same view can be used, multiple requirements can be reused to fetch all the data also or to fetch the dependent data also. That's the power of the view. Yes. Okay. So that is the referential join. Any question on joins, anyone? Before we move on to the next topic. Well, let's move on then. We move on to build our calculation view now. And
I
our
have one
yes,
quick question.
yeah.
So this referential join, it can only be done used. Two tables can only be used.
Sorry.
Now, sometimes we have seen in join we can use more than one table,
Yes,
but in
all the joins can be used to join multiple tables. All of them. Yeah.
even the referential join.
Yes. I give an example here. Yeah. This is just an example I give between two table. Same can apply between three table, four table, five table also.
Okay, thank you.
This was just an example. Okay. To for your understanding purpose. Okay. Now
Hey, Anubhav,
it's yeah.
is this used for a cube star schema for dimension and fact?
The views, see, these are joins. Now it is irrespective of whether you're doing for star schema, you also have referential join here, or whether you are going ahead and building an attribute view. Yes, there also you have the referential join. Everywhere they are there. Let's talk about the next concept, which is building our OIA scenario. So remember Mr. James and OIA scenario? Open item analysis. What will be my design? So I want to talk about design first. Guys, remember, anything you want to do in your company in future, you all will become champions of ABAP on HANA, and you all will go to respective projects in your company. And I very wish you all of you very good luck that you will double your salary in coming years and months. When you double your salary, you go to companies, you start working on projects. That time you will get requirements. Ask yourself what will be my design, how I am going to do it. See, remember always, if your code will execute on a piece of paper, it will always execute in the system also. Yeah. If your code executes on a piece of paper, it will always execute, yes, on the system also. Yes. That is what will happen. Yes. So I'll just show you one example of one of my student. I'm working on a project with them. You can see this is my personal WhatsApp message. See here what we are doing. We have got a requirement to build views, and we are first identifying the references and relationships between the tables in our company. What are my views? What are my tables? How I'm going to combine them? There are many of them. So what is the relationship and how I'm going to get it? Yes, this is what we are doing on a piece of paper in our organization. You see 15th February. Yes. So first you need to always ask yourself, if the design is not clear, it is very hard that your implementation might go correct. You do it on a piece of paper, no problem. You don't need to create a fancy document. First, clarify about your design, what you want to do. Yes, what's your goal? What's your requirement? So our requirement is OIA, where we need to calculate the average open days since when invoices are open, and the total open amount in a common currency, which is due from the customer side for unpaid invoices. That's our requirement. Now, how am I going to address that requirement? To address that requirement, you need to have a design. So I will be building two views here. First, I will be building an attribute view where I'm going to start with my first table, or I will be building everything using calculation views. Yes, because our goal is to learn calculation view also. So I'll build two calculation view. So calculation view one, I will be building where first I will get the data. I will get a projection node. What is projection node? Projection node is predominantly used to select data from your table. You don't want to fetch all the columns because you know column store database. If you select few columns, it's going to be rewarding performance. So on one side, I will get data from SNWD BPA table. And on the other side, I will also have another projection SNWD invoice header table. Now somebody also asked me this question last class, Anubhav, can I also apply filter while reading the data from the view? Congratulations, your doubt and questions were heard by me, and we will also do that. So I will also apply a filter here, and that filter will be for open invoices. This payment status is blank. So it will only return or read the invoices which are not paid by customer. Then on top of it, I will apply the join of my master data business partner with the total open invoices. Then after this is done, this join is done, we will just go ahead to the next step, and we will also apply here a calculation. So we will add a new calculated parameter called days, open days. Yes, and this will be done using a HANA function called days between. Today's date, which is called as now, comma, the date when invoice was last changed. We'll get it, join. And then we will expose this data in the result. Let's call it as result one, which is my calculation view one I'll create. Then second thing, Now you will activate this. Before activating, also make sure that you change the privilege to classic analytic privilege. What is privilege? It's basically a permission, who can access your view. Yes, so this is a permission we will set to classic analytic privilege permission, which means we can access this from the ABAP system later on if we want. Yes, or from the query. That's we want. Now after this is done, we will create second view, calculation view 2, which is, I will name it as CV underscore OIA. Final result, let's call it as CV underscore open day. So this one was calculating the open days since when invoices were open. Now I will first get my existing view CV open day, which I just built in step number 1 as result 1. This is anyway giving result 1. Yes, I will now on the other side get my another projection. Yes, this is a projection node. I'll show you projection node in a minute. And then this will be getting my item data. And then I'll apply a join. The moment you join this data with the inner join, what will happen? Since you already applied open invoice filter, it will only filter out all the open items also for the open invoices. Then I will apply a aggregation node. And here I will calculate the total due amount with currency conversion. So we'll add all the conversion input parameter for currency and we'll calculate the total open amount which is due. And then we will give the final result. So at the end of it, you will get here the total open days and total open amount. Then what you do on top of this view, you will write a query like I showed you in the last class, where we will calculate a average of open day and sum of open amount to get our final result of OIA which Mr. James is wanting. Very nice. Let us go ahead and build this using our design step by step. I'll switch over back. I first create my calculation view. Let's put it here CV underscore open day. Calculation view. I told you there are two types, graphical and SQL script. I'll go with graphical now. Later on, I'll teach you SQL script also in our training. I say finish. I close all the other windows. So I right click and say close tab on the left. Okay. Now, here is where we can start building our view. So how to build our view? So we start first with the projection node. You see on the left all the nodes, different types of nodes available. So I follow the design. I get my first projection node. And in this, I will get business partner and on the right side invoice header. So let's get one more projection node. So this one, left one is my business partner data. Right side is my data for the invoice header, open invoices. Yes. So that we are getting. Now, next we will add the table business partner. Search the table. Here it is. And expose columns. So I want node key. I want the business partner ID. I want the company name. These are the three things I need. So we just choose few columns. Remember HANA column store? We just choose the columns we need. On the right hand side, I will add sales order invoice header table. And coming back again to the question you asked me, can I apply filters on my data? So here on the payment status, I right click and apply filter. So I will discard the invoices which are already paid by customer. I don't need them. So I say apply. And now what I will do, I will choose here F4 and choose blank. Click OK. You can see I applied the filter. Now I expose the node key and I expose the total buyer guide. Who's the buyer? And also change that. When was the invoice last changed by someone? These properties I'm exposing it out. Perfect. Now we will add a join node to join my business partner. Drag and drop and connect these pieces. It's very graphical, no coding. And now we can connect this node key with the buyer guide with the inner join 1:n. And let's add all the properties in the output which we need. And we will calculate here the total open days, since how long the invoices are open. So we go inside this new, and here we say open days. Let's calculate it as integer. And now what we will do, we will just do the conversion. So we say days underscore, and you can see there is a function provided by HANA. So you can see here days between. This is the function I can use. So I double click, the function comes. It asks me to pass date 1 and date 2 as two arguments. It will calculate the days difference. So my first date is changed at date. When was invoice last changed at? So I can just select that. Okay, 1 second. I have to also add that in the output. It's okay. You can use created at, or maybe we can use changed at, not created at. So we can just add also the changed at and remove the created at. We don't need that. Okay. Come back here. We got a changed at, and now we add a calculation open days. And we can just say days between day 1 changed at day 2, and here we have to put current date. So that is called UTC now. Click OK. Specify the length. I will choose integer and OK. So I've got the calculation of open days. Let's aggregate this. I will add everything to the output. I will add open days, which is my measure, as an aggregated output. And you can see we can just choose here, instead of sum, we can say average. Get me the average open days. That is what system will calculate for us. Perfect. We have got here our data. I missed out one important property, which is this node key to be exposed in the outside. Just name it as, let's say, the order key or invoice key, invoice header key as a name when you are exposing it out. So we would need this to join our later on our with our item data in the second view. Now one last important thing, as I told you, in the view property, go to apply privilege and choose classic privilege. If you not do this, watch out what happens. Let me activate. It's running and it completed with error. So there is an error here. It says repository encountered an error. Create scenario failed. At least one runtime reported error. Please check result for detailed CV. I don't know what is the issue here. Invalid syntax used in filter expression. So something has gone wrong in our filter expression here. Here some invalid syntax is there. So I'll validate, and you see it is telling me what is wrong. Yeah, it is telling me what is wrong. You see, evaluator days between. I think there's something wrong. Days between changed at date. Okay, change that it is a timestamp, my friends. So when you are doing the calculation, you have to convert that, change that to a date function, to a date. So I'll use a date function and I pass my change that inside the date function here to convert the timestamp into the date. I click on validate. You see now it's a valid expression. So my bad. Yes, I did not convert my timestamp to the date. Now I did that. Click OK. Let's activate. So this time it got activated successfully. But if you try to view the data, you will face the error. Let's see. And you see this error. What is saying? Insufficient privilege. So I'm the developer, but I myself cannot see the data of the view. Yes, this is because of the latest concept in HANA about the privileges. This is very strict privilege that doesn't allow even a developer himself to view the data. So we have to switch to the classical analytic privilege. This one. I save again and activate again. Done. Let's try it this time. So be very careful when you build calculation views. They will not allow yourself to have a permission. You see it is working now. Perfect. So this is our first view which calculates the open days. I will take a screenshot of this and I will put the screenshot in our PPT. However, I'll show you if you want to use my code, my views, you can also use them in your company system. You can import them in your company system directly. That will be possible. I will show you that later. This is our first view. Now, my next view is to calculate the open amount together with days. So we go back, we create now next calculation view and let's call it a CVOI. Click on finish and we come here and now I will drag drop our existing view in a projection. So let's create a projection first. This is the projection layer and I will go to my calculation views and drag drop this open days here. Fantastic. Add everything to the output. Now add the second projection node and put here add invoice item and we will put here the parent key, the total gross amount which is due and currency code. Perfect. Now I can just do the join, drag and drop, drag and drop. And let's join this node key with the parent key. So there are one-to-n relationship in the items. Now I connect to the aggregation node and let's add everything to the output. And now in the aggregation node, we will apply the currency conversion. So we create a same thing what I did in the last class. If you've forgotten, I request you to kindly check the last class video again. How did we add the currency conversion in SAP? So we right click here, add new, and I will put here IMCURR. This will be a column type of parameter. Column is currency code. So I have to add currency code in the output first. So add to output, add these two to the output, add open days to the aggregated output as a measure because it's a measure. Yes. So we will add this open days as a aggregated output because it's a measure. Yeah. So please be careful. All the numbers should be measure. And now we can add our input parameter. It will be of type a column, currency code. Now I'll create a column again. Let's say current date of date type hidden now and create a new calculated column to find the converted gross amount. decimal 15 to, it's a measure where we are doing the conversion. So we can go back and do the conversion. So we will come here and we will put the conversion. So what I will do, I'll put the actual gross amount. Let me add the gross amount as a aggregated output, and so that I can do the conversion. So I add now the rule, and we will put converted gross amount decimal 15 to as a measure, and calculated column as gross amount. So apply conversion on this guy. How? It's a currency conversion. Yes. So what is my source currency? My source currency is going to come from the database table. So we'll choose currency code. What's my target currency? Target currency is going to come from the input parameter. What is my exchange type? I will be using exchange rates as M. Okay, it's saying system table is missing. So we have to choose the schema for conversion. We will choose our SAP HANA DB schema so that it will load the currency rates you see now. So now we will choose M. Then we will choose conversion date as my hidden column, current date. So I don't have to hard code the dates, and my exchange rate I don't need. And you see it will create a new column called converted gross amount currency. Remember this column name. What to do if the conversion fails? Ignore for time being, because it's a training system. In productive system, you will make it fail. This we did it in the last class. Same I'm repeating. And now our view is ready. Let's finally set the privilege. Mark the other columns as a dimension and go to view properties to change it to classic analytic privilege. And now let's try and activate our guy. It's completed. So this is the runtime object, and I will hit a query on this object to finally produce my OIA result. So let's write a query on this guy. Select business partner ID, company name, average of open days as open days, sum of converted gross amount as gross amount, and the converted currency gross amount currency column, which is a generated column by the view at runtime. Group by all the columns which are not participating in aggregate clause, they should be added. So that should give us our data. Plus also we can pass the placeholder. If you remember last class, $, IM currency. I will hard code this value to euro for now. We're passing the parameter also. Yes. So incorrect syntax error near converted gross amount currency. I think it is currency code. Yes. No. What is the column name? Let me just check again. So here the new column which will create for currency code, converted currency code amount will be this conv gross amount currency. That will be the new column. So conv gross amount currency. Now there is a syntax error. I guess it is due to placeholder. Let me try to bye this. No, it's not working. So I think it is due to this currency code. Let me try to remove it for time being. Ah, I got you. I got you. I'm so sorry. I missed the comma. It was a comma missing. Let's try now. Now there's a problem with the comma. in line number 5. So you can't see line number, right click and show line number. Line number 5, there's a problem. It is with the placeholder, guys. This is the issue. Just check. So let me just also check back. Yes, placeholder dot. Yes, we are missing the syntax actually. Dot our parameter name, column value. So somebody has given me the syntax based on the experience we had in the last class. So parenthesis, placeholder, which is not coming under this, dot my parameter name in single quote double dollar, arrow value. This is how the syntax look like for the query to pass the data. Yes, it says IMCURR, incorrect syntax near IMCURR. Something is wrong. Dollar, 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 currency, arrow value. Let me check our last class. What did we do? How to pass the placeholder. So I once again go back to HANA. Double quote is what you need to do. Okay, let me try. Not here, there. Yes, perfect. Thank you. Thanks for fixing. So we pass now the at runtime this parameter to convert to euro, and you see everything converted to euro. So this is your final result. But now this should be a open days, and we can round off our open days actually. So per customer we can round out. Actually we can sum because average is already done earlier. No, 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 no. It's not working. So is the average already done? Why do we need to do this average? Let me try. Guess it's not working. Comma is missed. No guys, something is wrong. It's not calculating an average open days. I got the issue why it's not calculating. We have to go back here and this aggregation we have to set it. For this open days, we have to set the default aggregation to average. That is my mistake instead of sum. Let's reactivate the view. Okay, let's try now. And yes, you can see it's getting the average calculated, but I want to round off my average also. So what I will do, I will switch over back and I will also put a round function, comma 0. There you go. You can see how many days since when invoices are open and what's the total due amount in euro currency. It's all calculated in HANA. Look at the time it is taking. You can see server processing time successfully executed, fetched this much time in how much time? 1 millisecond, 180 microsecond it is taking, guys. Yeah, in the actual database for executing this code, it is taking 1 millisecond, 180 microsecond. So come back once again. 1 millisecond, 1.1 millisecond it is taking. Yeah, technically. So 1.1 millisecond, Anubhav, 1.1 millisecond. So let's write here with the data modeling how much time it is taking. 1.1 millisecond. How much time it was taking? Can anyone tell me? With pure ABAP as an experienced ABAP developer with the top experience of ABAP you have in your company, how much time was that taking as a top experienced ABAP developer to run OIA scenario? How much time it was taking? You see, 376 millisecond it was taking. The same scenario is now taking how much? 1.1 millisecond. Can you imagine how much performance improvement is this now? How much? Yes. How much performance improvement is this? So this is 37600 divided by 1.1. 34,181% improvement. Can you imagine the power of code to data paradigm? Are you guys able to understand how a ABAP and on HANA developer is a game changer for company? Is this clear? Hello? How an ABAP on HANA developer is a game changer for an organization. Why wouldn't a company hire this guy? The the code which was or the application which you built earlier with ABAP and optimized ABAP, it is even 34,000 faster than that. Yes. Wow. Super. So now this is our output which we have got. But the most important question comes, first of all, how do I transport this view to the quality system? Let me take a screenshot also. Yes. And put it in the PPT so you guys can see my design at least. Let me put it in the PPT. So you saw performance improvement at a next level with the help of HANA views. Cool. Okay. So now how do you transport this object first of all to quality system, and what are the challenges do you face? We will discuss that. But first of all, how do you consume them in ABAP now? So most importantly, Anubhav, if I've got here this native SQL query, somehow I want this result in ABAP system to show to Mr. James because Mr. James have access to ABAP. So how do we access this to ABAP? What are the techniques we have? Plus on top, how do I transport my objects to quality and production? We will discuss these two topics right after the break. Let's take a break here. But before the break, any question, please ask in the view. Anubhav, I need to practice. Yeah, you need to practice certainly. When you go back after the class, watch my video and practice yourself. You will be mesmerized to see the benefits. Okay, if no valid questions, then let's take a break. And on the other side of the break, I will begin with consuming this in ABAP system. So let's take a break and be back after the short break. Welcome back after the break. So now we are going to talk about how can we consume this query or this output from HANA in ABAP. So there are many ways to do so. What are these ways? So how to consume HANA views in ABAP. To consume that, we have different techniques to do so. These techniques depends on complexity, requirement, and systems. The first technique is, let's say, number one, number two, and number three. So first and foremost technique, guys, is called ADBC. ABAP database connectivity. What are the pros and cons of this option? So what are the pros? If you use ADBC, then you can also consume HANA queries in any system, even below SAP NetWeaver 7.2, yes, or 7.4. So if your SAP NetWeaver version is less than 7.4 support pack 2, then also you can use it. Means you are on lower releases of NetWeaver in your company. You've not yet upgraded SAP systems and you want to consume HANA query. You can go with this technique. You can access any HANA schema from ABAP system. Wow. So any HANA schema excluding the SAP HANA DB which I showed you can also be accessed, which means our view is created in sysbik schema that we can access. Yes, direct access to DB is possible. This technique can also be used to call procedure, or almost every DB object can be accessed. How to do this? Before I show you the disadvantages or the cons, I need to teach you how to work with ADBC. Now you need to understand what is ADBC. ADBC, the full form is ABAP Database Connectivity. What is ABAP Database Connectivity? SAP have provided something called a interface. What is the interface? It's a bunch of classes provided by SAP. With the help of these bunch of classes provided by SAP, you will be able to consume the database queries in the ABAP system. So I'll switch over back to our Eclipse now. This is our ABAP system, Eclipse. And in Eclipse ADT, I will create a program. I'll create a ABAP program in Eclipse tool. So here we will give the name. Let's say Z web consume OIA using ADBC, ABAP database connectivity. This is where we will write our ABAP program now. So what is ADBC? A set of classes which are standard classes for us to talk to database. We pass the query tested in HANA directly from ABAP. So first I will declare types begin of TYOIA, business partner ID, type business partner table, company name, open days, gross amount, and currency code. All the data which we need to fetch. So we are more of a defining the skeleton of the incoming data for our use case. Table type and structure I have defined. Now I want to also pass the parameter dynamically. Somebody also asked me, Anubhav, can I pass this euro dollar in which I want to do conversion? Yes. Can I do this in the, is it possible to do this, pass this value in a different, through the ABAP? Can we do that through the ABAP? Answer is very much yes. You can do this from ABAP actually. So what we will do, we will pass this data from ABAP, and for this, I will be creating a parameter in ABAP. Yes, I will be creating a parameter in ABAP. That is what I will do. Okay, so let's create the parameter in ABAP. So I can say parameter P currency, type my currency code, this currency code parameter. Okay, so now we will just prepare our SQL query. So I'll create a data LV query and I will just pass our query. So let's bring it on, my friends. Bring this entire code directly from HANA to above. This is our query. So we pass here, we are just concatenating. Yeah, we are concatenating. So we'll concatenate everything. So this is how we use string operation, which I taught you in the early days of new syntax. And now I will pass the parameter hard coding with my parameter. Currency parameter. So this is my step number 2. Now the game begins, guys. Now the game begins. We are going to use the Adbc interface provided by SAP. Step number 1, create the object of SAP Adbc class. It's called CL SQL connection. Get connection. The advantage here is you can also pass connection name. If you are using HANA as a sidecar scenario, this is the only approach you can use in your company. This is the only approach you can use in your company to actually get the data. Yes, that's what you can do. This is the only approach you can use in your company to actually get the data. That's what you can do. All right. So now let's go ahead and see this. How can we use this approach to get the data? So if we use HANA as sidecar scenario, ADBC is the only way. ADBC is the only way to get the data from HANA, because in this case it is possible to pass a connection name. What's your secondary database connection? Like secondary HANA, like this. But since HANA is working, in our case it's a S4 system, HANA is working as a primary database. We don't have to worry. We don't have to worry. Okay, so that is our get connection. It will return an object. We get a connection object. Step number 1. Perfect. Now, step number 2. After we get the connection object, we need to get a statement object. So we need to create a statement object because we want to send SQL to HANA. So this is why you need to create a statement object. And I say hello connection, create statement. Shift enter. Yes, control space, shift enter. So you can check the signature of this function, create a statement. And now once you got the statement object, step number 3, we need to execute query. So what is execute query do? We will send our query to HANA. So hello statement, execute query. You see. And now we will pass our query over here, which we stored in a string format. We pass that here. Step by step, line by line, I'm telling you every single meaning line and its code. Now this statement, what you're doing, it will just set the query in an intermediary buffer. Yes, it will set our query to an intermediary buffer actually. Intermediary buffer. That is what the system will actually do for us. It will set our query to an intermediary buffer. Please remember, it will set it to a buffer actually. What will happen? We will then use the buffer to flush. But before we flush the buffer and call the database to load the data, what we will do? We will tell the system to actually use the buffer. I mean, we will tell the system where will my data come. So imagine you are planning to bring a brand new Mercedes car at your home. Yes, you're planning to bring a brand new Mercedes car. Now, the very first thing you will need in your case is a parking lot where you can park your car, correct? So that is what you need. You need a parking for the car. That is what you will need actually. So only then you will be able to bring the Mercedes at home. Of course, you would want a parking lot. Then only you will get the Mercedes at home. It's a luxury car, you want to bring it. So that is what we need. We need a parking space actually. So how do we get the parking space? That is basically your internal table. So you have to tell the computer that when the data comes, the data will come into my parking lot. Yes. What is my parking lot? That we have to specify. So my parking lot is nothing but it is the internal table. So this internal table we will declare here. So let's declare data, and I can say LR tab type ref2 data. This is how you declare generic data type, and then say get reference of itab into LR tab arrow. I declare the LR tab. I declare itab also now. So I'll just say internal table type tt underscore y. So now we've got the itab reference. So we first allocate memory, and then we assign this memory to this generic data type. This is called dynamic data types in ABAP that we are doing. Very, very important step. Perfect. After we do this step, our next step will be to set what is my parking lot for getting this car. So you have to go to step number 4 and inform ABAP engine where will the data come when query executes. So you have to say we will also get this in a query object. So when this query executes, hey computer, my data is going to come set param table. So I'm setting the parameter table where my data come, and you see here it doesn't ask you to get the internal table. It is asking you to set the reference actually. Yes. So I'll switch over back and I will say LR tab. I'll pass it here. Perfect. This is my step number 4. Step number 4. Perfect. So now I have got my table. I have got my data. Makes sense. Makes sense. Now what is my next step? After I set my param tab, this is my parameter table. My next step will be to fire the query, send it to database, because I told that when you're bringing this new Mercedes car, the result, it should be parked in this parking lot. That's my table that we have told the computer. Okay, next step is step number 5. After informing the ABAP engine, where will the data eventually come into, our next and the last step is to send the query for execution. Send the query for execution to database. That is what we will do. Perfect. Superb, guys. Superb. So that is how exactly we are processing everything step by step in the system. Okay. That is what we are doing step by step in the system. So now after this, we are going to trigger our query. So you can see every single line, every single process which I'm writing here, I'm writing it step by step for all of you without any compromise. Yes. No, no copy paste. Directly We are doing step by step here. Everything we are doing step by step here. Okay. So now what is my next step? My next step is to actually fire this query, send this query to database. So I can say next package. The moment you fire this, the buffer which you created will get flushed. Yeah. So remember this line will create a buffer. It will buffer the query. The buffer is flushed and the query is sent to database. Yes. The query is ultimately sent to our database. That is what system will do for us. Makes sense. Now, after the buffer is flushed, the query is sent to database. Ultimately, we will get our data ultimately in this I tab. So we can finally show the result. CL demo output, display data, and we pass the data here. I tab. Done. You can also on a safer side close the query and close the connection. So you can say all the resources what you occupied at the beginning, kindly close them and close the connection also, because a connection will acquire a connection from the database. So we will close that connection also. Yes, we will do that. So now I'll close the connection. I'll close this query. I will activate. Done. And we are good. So let's run this now. We are going to get our data from database. So whatever you saw here, this whole thing is eventually going to come to ABAP. This was a question by many of you in the last class. Anubhav, how do I get the data? Execute, pass the currency code euro, and it's dumping. Wow, very good. I was waiting for this. We are lucky today, very lucky. Why we are lucky? Because when you practice and during training time you get the dumps, you get to learn something. So now, of course, it's dumping and I have no clue why it's dumping. Okay, I have no idea why it's dumping. Yes, it's dumping somewhere, but I have no clue. You see, it's dumping on this line. Get reference of this into this. Yes, somehow the memory allocation is not happening, and that is the reason it is actually dumping. Yes, so somehow the memory allocation is not happening, or maybe this line is not correct. So I got ya. So it is because of this arrow. We don't need that. This is needed only for field symbols. I did an extra line. Activate, run again. Pass euro. It goes straight into database and voila! Woohoo! Mr. James is a happy man. He got ya. Mr. James got ya all the results. Superb, guys. Superb. Mr. James got ya all the results. Makes sense. Makes sense. Cool, na? This is how we can get the data in ABAP. And you can see the performance improvement. All of it is executing in deep into database in the calculation view. All the calculations are happening in the database. In the calculation view, actually, these are happening. That is what the system is actually doing. Very nice. Now, I come back. What are the disadvantages of this approach? Let's evaluate. Because in interview, interviewer is going to ask you these interview questions to you. What are the pros and cons of each approach? What are the different approaches you can consume HANA views in ABAP? And pros and cons of each approach interviewer is going to ask you. So let's do that. So first, what is the disadvantage? So it is not for the faint of heart. Of course, this technology or this tech which we have used requires good ABAP skills. Someone who know ABAP, only that person can use this, can do this. Someone who don't know ABAP, it will be difficult for them. I say not impossible, but difficult for them to understand. It requires coding effort. Yes, debugging and error tracing will be difficult. No design time checks. Let me show you. If you do small mistake here in the query, let's say I missed a comma by mistake, I have no clue what will go wrong because it got activated. You see, it got activated. It didn't tell me any error. It got activated. I run it. I pass euro and you see dumping. So I have to do exception handling myself to get to know the issue. So I'll put a try catch. CX SQL error into hello error and try, and I will also print it on the UI. Hello error, get text. To show the error, what has gone wrong. I forgotten what's the name. So I'll go and check ST22. What's the name of exception? So I'll just check that. So the name of exception is CX SQL exception, guys. This is the name of exception. So you have to handle that exception over here. That's exception class. So you have to do exception handling, and if something goes wrong, sometime we are clueless. Sometime we are clueless. Execute euro. You see now it is catching the exception. It's telling there's an incorrect syntax error near line sum. Near sum. So the error handling and issue tracing is difficult because your program will activate including errors in the query. Yes, your program will activate including errors in the query. That is what will happen, including errors in the query. That will be the problem. Yes, that will be the problem. So now you can see this is the issue. It's a big issue actually. Yeah. How do we overcome this issue? We cannot overcome. We have to just believe. We have to believe. This is the situation here. Now, next step will be what? Our next step will be to proceed further and analyze the next option for us. What would be the next option for us? So the next option for us will be to proceed further and see second approach. So no design time checks, debugging is difficult, error tracing is difficult, require good ABAP skill, good coding skill. We have to take care of exception handling. That we have to do ourselves. So all these are the challenges with respect to the disadvantage of ADBC approach. Now, moving on to the second approach which comes up is called view proxy. This approach we can only use if we are on SAP NetWeaver 7.4 support per 2 and above. Only then you can use this approach. Otherwise, you cannot use this approach. Only above NetWeaver 7.4 support pack 2 and above we can use this approach. Otherwise, we can't. Yes. In the view proxy approach, it's a better approach. It requires less coding skills. So what are the pros and cons again? So the pros are, I will show the approach. Let me first write down the pros. So no much technical skill required. Yes, not much technical skill is required to be able to work with this approach. A view gets created in ABAP system on which we can fire the simple, open SQL also. That is another advantage of view proxy approach. It is simple and straightforward and automatic handling. Yes. You can see the proxy object in ABAP system. So you will know the signature. What is the input and output parameters? You will know the signature, including the input and output parameters you will get to know. Yes. So these are the advantages what you will see when it comes to working with this approach. All right. So let's see the view proxy approach. So what happened is we created the HANA view here. What's the name? Sysbic February Anubhav CVOIA. I copy that. I minimize. I go back to ABAP system again. And now I right click new other ABAP repository object and search for view here. View. I'm in ABAP system. Please notice I am inside the ABAP system, my friends. Please notice. Yeah. So now I choose dictionary view. I choose dictionary view. I click on next. I put here the name. I'll put the name as, let's say, Z, and I say view proxy OIA. That's a name I give, or ZFeb VP OIA. Yes. Now here you see there's an option called external view, and here you can give your HANA view name. You can either copy the HANA view name directly from HANA Studio, or you can search here with your package name. So what's my package? Feb underscore Anubhav. So Feb underscore control space. It will load all the objects, or you can just search the view name CVOIA. It will find all of them here. You see, my package is Feb Anubhav. That's the one I will choose. Click on description, my view proxy, and click on finish. Congratulations. A view proxy is created in ABAP. Using this view proxy, you can directly read the data. Very nice. I can activate this now. View proxy is activated. And now you can consume this view proxy in the ABAP program. In the ABAP program. So let us go ahead and see this in action. I will go to write another ABAP program now. Z feb consume OIA using view proxy. Now first advantage, you see how simple was that? No coding experience required. Yes, you can already see all the properties directly over here for your data, and you can directly fire now a open SQL query what you are comfortable in ABAP. So select BPID, company name, average open days, simple ABAP query you can write here. Sum of gross amount, converted gross amount as gross amount, converted gross amount currency from my view proxy. From my view proxy, group by, yes, group by my columns which are not participating in aggregation clause. Into table, internal table. Please bring the data in my internal table directly. You see how easy this code is with compared to this code. Yeah. I want to ask audience, what is complex, left or right? Which part do you feel, according to you, is more complex, left or right? Left or right? Left, na? So it's easy to consume view proxy, and you can show the data. Output will be same, no change. Output will be same, my friends. Display data. And now I will pass this over here. So the result is absolutely same. It's a dumping SQL message currency unit conversion error. There is something has gone wrong. Currency unit conversion error. Yeah, it has gotcha some issue in this area. Okay, so we have not okay. The disadvantage with this approach is with the view proxy you can't pass the parameter data. So you have to go back to HANA, and in our view for the parameter which we created we have to hard code a value. If user doesn't pass this value, you take this value as 0 and I activate. Yes, in the other option we can pass, but here we cannot pass. Okay, that is very important. I activated it. Let's try now, and you can see data is coming. Wow, cool. I did a small mistake. I don't need to use this average further because it's already average. Aggregation level is already average. So open days, activate. So we run it and we get our open days gross amount euro. So we're getting our data. So it is pretty straightforward what we get here. Makes sense. So now you can see guys, this is how exactly the view proxy works. Now what are the disadvantages of view proxy? So first of all, you saw one disadvantage. We cannot pass dynamic parameters with this approach. Yes, we cannot pass dynamic parameters with this approach. Second, you will get life cycle challenges. Every time the HANA view changes, we need to synchronize our view proxy. If we don't do it, we will lead to transport errors and dump. I will explain all of this now. So first of all, you can't pass the dynamic parameter. What you can pass in Adbc, that you saw the advantage. Then life cycle challenges. You will have the life cycle challenges, which I will explain. Now, you need to synchronize. So suppose in your company, somebody go and modify this HANA view. Let's imagine they added one more property here, maybe quantity. Yes, they added that. They added this quantity in the projection. Yes, then they went ahead and they also added the quantity in the output. Yes, so let me just get this in the output also. They added it in the output. Yes, they activated HANA view. The ABAP view proxy will not know this change. They will not know. Here you will still see the old object, the old behavior. So if you come back and say synchronize, then you will get to know that extra field quantity, you see. So every time whenever a change is done in HANA, it needs to be synchronized in ABAP. Yes, and then you need to reactivate. This is a big disadvantage of view proxy. It is not automatic sync. You have to synchronize. Now this will lead to life cycle challenges. Let me explain you how. So first, before you understand life cycle challenge, let's understand how the HANA views are transported. So in HANA, we have a concept of delivery unit. It is somewhat similar to transport in ABAP. In ABAP, we have transport, but here we have delivery unit concept. So using the delivery unit concept, you will transport your views to quality, and you can create delivery unit first, add package inside, and use same delivery unit again and again to send objects to queue system. Let me show you. So if I'm a HANA developer, I build my views. So see, I've built a lot of views in this training. Now they're part of this package Feb Anubhav. Now I will create a delivery unit to transport my changes, to quality and production system. That's what I want to do. So what I will do now, I will just go ahead and create a delivery unit. So go to window, show view, and here search for quick view. This is the quick view. And in the quick view, now you see delivery units. Select your dev system, click on next button. And now you can create a delivery unit here. So let me create a delivery unit, create button. I can't create because vendor is not set. So this vendor setting, I need to do it in system where. So this will be done by administrator. So they will go there to system parameter and they will go to configuration. And here they have to search a configuration for vendor in the global INI. Somewhere there will be a configuration for vendor. Let me search vendor. This is undefined. So I will use my basis user. Now I'm using my basis user. I pause my screen to set this vendor using a different user ID. With my admin user ID, I will set this vendor information. Yes. I'll restart sharing my screen. So you can see with my basis user, I have changed the vendor. So basis user means a user or basically my user, which is having permission to change it. So I changed it. Now I can create delivery unit again. So go to delivery unit, select your dev system, create your delivery unit now. Okay. Click on create. Let's call it as delivery unit. So we will give a name du underscore, let's say Feb. Who is responsible? Anubhav is responsible. Version is 1. Support pack is 0. Subversion is 0. Click OK. So you see du Feb. In this I will add my package Feb Anubhav. So all the objects, all the calculation views, yes, all the views which we build in this training, they will be transported. They will be transported. Very nice. Click on finish. Done. Delivery unit is created. So you need to now export the delivery unit. So here there is an export button. You come and you search for delivery unit. Select your development system and give your delivery unit name. It was du Feb. It is showing your package. And now you say next. You can export it to client on my desktop. Done. So all my objects are exported. You see here. Guys, I will share this with all of you in study material. If you are using my training system or your company HANA system, you can import this delivery unit in your company HANA system to get my package created so that you can see everything. I'll copy and share this later on in the study material. Now, after you export in the quality or production, you will ask your HANA consultant or HANA administrator to import it. They will go to Q&P system and import and search delivery unit. Select the quality or production system and now choose client to browse the file. You can see this is the file. Open. You see all the objects. Wow, look at that. Look at that, guys. All my objects, including the package, will be imported. You can choose here option. Activate and ignore inconsistent objects. So while it is importing the delivery unit, you are telling the computer how to behave if there are bad members. Yes. Stop activation of inconsistent and all affected objects. Activate and ignore inconsistencies. So when activation happens of design time object, what happens? Runtime object gets created. Remember the concept I taught you, design time object? You only transport design time objects in your package. You never transport runtime objects. When the activation happens in quality in production, the runtime object gets created automatically. Wow, beautiful, beautiful. This is the concept of working with HANA views. You can finish, it will get you the package, it will get you all the runtime objects created in quality. So you just saw how the HANA objects are transported to quality. That you just saw. Yes, that you just saw. So how will then the ABAP proxy will be transported? That will be through the transport request. Yes. So there are a couple of questions coming in chat window. Let me first take them up. I am 8 session late. I've started watching old session. Thing is, I'm not familiar with the BAP. So what was taught today went over my head. Okay, don't worry. Go through the classes from class 1, Pratik. Start going through the videos. You will understand. Is the transport cannot be possible directly with QS to prod without local file? No, not possible. You have to use delivery units in HANA. There is no other way. There is no other way to send your objects to quality or production system. There's no other way, guys. The only way is using the delivery units. That's the only way. That's the only way, guys. No other way. No other way. Okay. Now we go back and we've
I
got
have a
the
question.
yes.
Can you edit the objects while doing while creating a
Yes.
delivery unit?
So now if you want to send update, what do? You come back, you update whatever you want to do, and then you need to again export the delivery unit one more time.
Okay, what happens to like say if if you say delay the other ones, so it just stays in the other in the original. I mean in the what
So
not
basically what
transported
happened
yet.
is this is a
Hmm.
snapshot. When was this snapshot taken? Look at the timestamp. On 2024 February 17th at 20 o'clock 42 minutes 46 seconds 33 microseconds milliseconds. This was the time snapshot was taken. So what was the that point of time? What was the state of your views? It's that.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. After that, if you make a change, you have to repeat the process. Export the delivery unit again in case you're changing. Yes. So now understand the problem here. So what is happening in your dev system? You have got the views. You've got your view. So you created a view, a calculation view in your dev system. This you did, a calculation view. And then this calculation view, you activate the HANA view gets created, right? After activation, the runtime object, which I was telling you. Yeah, that happens. Now the the, the whole thing is kept inside the delivery unit, and then this delivery unit is sent to the quality. Yes, it's sent to the quality. It reaches the quality, unpacks the calculation view, package and calculation view. Activation happens automatically, and the HANA view gets created automatically. That happens in quality. This is HANA, your database. But what happened in ABAP layer, guys? What do you do in ABAP? In ABAP layer, you have created a proxy. In ABAP, you have created a proxy. Very important. You created a proxy object in ABAP. So what was that proxy object doing? That proxy object was pointing to this HANA view, the runtime object. That is what was that ABAP object is doing. So here you will have the proxy, which is a proxy of this guy. Yeah, this is the view proxy created. And then this view proxy was used in your ABAP program. This is what we did today. We created a proxy and we use that in an ABAP code, ABAP program. We use that, yeah. This I just showed you a few minutes ago. We were kind of using it. So how will these two guys reaches to quality? Anybody? What do you feel? How will the proxy and this guy will reach to quality? Anybody? Will it be through delivery unit or something else?
Via
Yes,
transport.
via ABAP transport. Very good answer. So we will use ABAP transport.
STMS.
Yes, absolutely. SE01. So because these are ABAP objects, they are ABAP specific artifacts. So they will go to quality via ABAP transport. ABAP transport, you put them, these two guys, they will reach to quality using ABAP transport. They will get created in here. And here is where it finds the HANA view created already. So you look at, if in your company there are two people, one is doing HANA development and one is doing ABAP development. This is people one, person one, and this is person two. Yes. The person here is managing delivery unit in your company to send them to quality. That's what the person one is doing in your company. Yeah. That's what the person one is doing. Let me change the color. Yeah. The green color and the gray color. So these are two people. This guy sends the views. This guy sends the transport. Now imagine, guys, notice here carefully. Imagine in your company, someone deleted one field here. Someone went and changed the HANA. They sent the delivery unit, the change reached here. They deleted the field. Yes, if I go ahead and delete a field from HANA view and send it, my view proxy was not transported, not synchronized, not transported. What will happen in quality and production? Anyone? If somebody delete this view and transported delivery unit,
Dumps.
ABAP
dump will
dumps.
happen. Very good. Because you deleted a property which the view proxy was pointing to, and now that property is not there in the quality. You didn't synchronize. This guy, this gray color guy, didn't synchronize the view proxy and didn't send it via transport. So this will lead to dumps. Yes. Same thing, other way around. If you have added a property in the HANA view, you have synchronized, but the guy released the transport first, and delivery unit is still kept here. It is not released. Now in the quality, you have extra property which it is looking for, and that didn't found in the HANA view because the delivery unit was not released by the green guy. Again, it will lead to dump. That's the biggest challenge of view proxy, because every time you make a change in HANA, you need to synchronize. And if you not synchronize, you have a problem. Yes. If you not synchronize them and not release them together, they have to go together. If they not go together, it will be a serious problem in the quality. Yes. So what to do? This is the disadvantage of view proxy. By the way, this is called bottom up approach. It's called bottom up approach. So we need to have some kind of mechanism so that in the quality, we will never have this issue of, incompatible changes reaching to quality at some point of time. We don't want that. Okay, that we need to do. I hope everybody understood the problem. I'll tell the solution in the next class. What do we do in SAP to avoid the life cycle challenge? That's a life cycle challenge of incompatible changes reaching to quality. First, either HANA using delivery unit or the view proxy using transport. Yes, that we will learn in the next class. I hope everybody enjoyed today's session. Time for your questions if you have. We will begin our session tomorrow with the continuation of this topic. Questions, please.
So do we have a versioning of these views that we created at the database level? Like, like we have a program version, right? In
No, sir.
SE38
The
and all.
only versioning which you see here is this timestamp you see. That's the version. The
So it's
snapshot,
like a snapshot. Yeah.
yeah, the
Yeah.
snapshot you've taken out, that's the version. Version is like a timestamp, yeah. That's the version, sir. That's the version.
Hey, quickly, if you have many objects in the package and if you want only move few objects via the
Cannot,
delivery unit, is there a way?
cannot. Either the whole package will move or nothing will move. So what
Okay.
do I do in my company? I create sub packages. Yes, I create sub packages like that. So it is possible that I move this package too, and I could put all the objects in that which I want to move them together. So you can create sub packages and organize your packaging properly. But there's no way to move a individual object at the moment with delivery unit. Cannot. Everything will
Okay.
go together. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Anubhav, in the second approach, uh, ABAP system has the HANA database.
It is all ABAP on HANA, sir. So in all approaches, what I'm teaching, it is the HANA database at the down.
Okay.
Suppose we have environment with multiple clients. The view changes will be done in one client. So any change you're doing in the delivery unit, this is done in HANA. And in HANA, there is no concept of client. The client concept is a ABAP system concept. The delivery units are client independent. They are system wide. They are system wide.
So we always when we make a development, we always move the delivery unit as well as the transport, correct?
Yes.
Quality and
I'll show you the solution of this problem, sir. Is the problem clear to you, sir? The synchronization and life cycle challenge. Is this problem clear? Is the problem statement clear to everybody? Please answer in the chat window. If it is clear, solution we'll see in the next class. I have a solution for this problem, but you need to understand the problem first. The problem is incompatible changes reaching either with the delivery unit or with the ABAP transport to quality. That is the problem statement. Perfect.
And we usually do
Fabulous.
the compare version in ABAP program, right? But whereas in the delivery unit, I see that like either we can store it in the client or in the server. I understand that, but actually, what was the last version or what was the last view that fields are there? How do we see it actually until we import the delivery unit?
So that you have to believe on the timestamp on the delivery unit, the name of the file, name of the delivery unit, which I showed you. Yes, you have to see the version was this date and timestamp. That's the only way.
Right.
There's no other way, sir. There's no other
But
way.
we cannot see the object inside, right? Like until we import it, we cannot see the what
Absolutely.
was. Okay.
So it's a drawback of delivery units also. It's a drawback.
Okay.
I will show this also in the next class. How can we solve this problem? Yeah. Okay. Thank you once again for your time today. I'll see you in the next episode tomorrow. Mob 9, please check after 5 minutes. We will fix your schema access issue.